Surprise, lovelies, you get a part 2 of former villain listeners. So yeah, sorry if my voice sounds like really bad. I'm currently losing it, so if there's no video tomorrow, you guys know what happened with my voice. It's dead. It's gone, really gone. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. The next day after school, you met Shinsou in front of his class's dorm building. You hadn't even asked Aizawa if you were allowed to be in the other students' dorm rooms. He seemed a bit more irritated today, so you stayed out of his way. Now that you were standing with the crazy purple-haired boy, you were going to find out the hard way. Knowing the school's current safety pretty cautious, you wouldn't be surprised if they manage to set the boundary tracker where it went off whenever you weren't into your dorm room, other than your own. I don't think you'd actually come, Shinsou said. I didn't want to ditch one of my only friends. You smiled. A faint blush tinted his cheeks, and he smiled slightly at your words. He immediately regained his composure, knowing that this was wrong. You were a villain. Even admitting that you were a drug smuggler. It's wrong, he believed. It was only wrong as a hero to be happy about calling a villain's friend. Not only that, but he'd only known you for 2 days. Sorry, I had to yawn. Come on, my dorm's only on the 2nd floor. I'll take you there, he said, returning to his straight face. He walked into the dorm building. You followed after him. You were tense every second you were there, for several reasons. The main issue being that you were waited for the location trackers on you to go off. When they did, you'd be paralyzed until the teachers came and disabled it. B was the oddly large amount of general education students glaring at you when you walked into the dorms. Every department of UA was informed of your arrival as a villain. They all knew who you were and were especially equally angry and terrified of the villain in their dorm rooms. Shinsou, what are you doing bringing him or her in here? Someone finally pointed out. I don't get the big deal. Have you seen all the safety measurements? Besides, there's a teacher in this building who can control over that collar thing. I don't know. You guys have really nothing to worry about. Shinsou rolled his eyes as he continued following him to his dorm. You didn't have to say that. 420, it's what the teachers want. For them to be afraid of me, it keeps them aware. If I were to do anything, you said, nervously rubbing the tracker bracelets. I know you aren't going to attack anyone. Why would you? It's stupid anyways. It's basically being handed freedom and just throwing it away. And you aren't even from here. What would you do if you escaped? Just a thought, Shinsou said, not looking back at you as he stopped in front of a door. You noticed that about him. He's pretty harsh but truthful about what he says to people. But that was all you'd seen of him. Maybe he was different. He opened the door to his room. He stopped at and gestured for you to go in. You were a bit uncertain at first. Similar scenarios to this have occupied you before, and they didn't end well with you. This is your room? You asked, looking around. It's not much, but yeah, he said, closing the door behind him. It's better than my room. You even have a TV? Damn. The most I got was a desk, a bed, a desk, and a chair. That's understandable, though, considering it's basically prison, you said, looking around his room. You can sit anywhere. Do you want to watch? He asked. He sat down on his bed and turned on the small TV. You awkwardly sat down next to him on his bed. He rested his arm on your shoulder, causing you to glare at him. You didn't do anything to stop him, really. Hey, it's iCarly, you said, pointing at one American programs on the TV. iCarly? He asked. Yeah, I watch it practically all the time when I was a kid. The gang normally let me use the TV whenever I was involved in a successful trip, but we could watch something else. Subtitles ruin it anyways, you said. Shinsou chose it anyways. There wasn't subtitles on it either, but he enjoyed seeing you fill with joy as he watched the character say something, then a laugh track plays. So, Yin, how did you get involved with that gang? Were you born into it, joined it? Why were you there? He wondered. Well, I was sort of adapted into it. One of the members of the gang, who was a bodyguard, he was a family friend. My parents were villains, from what I was told. They gave me to him to watch for the night, but they were both caught by a pro hero, so I lived and grew up with the gang. Now I'm here, he explained. Shinsou sighed. You're a villain. I shouldn't feel sorry for you, but I do. I'm sorry you had to experience something like that. It's fine, Shinsou. I can't miss someone I don't know, right? I found out all of this from that family friend. He took care of me until the gang got busted. You said, Hey, I have a few American movies. Do you want to watch one? He asked, trying to change the subject. American movies? Seriously, sure. Oh, yeah, seriously, sure, why not? You replied, shaking your head. Lynn, I'll have to turn on the location tracker if you don't return within 30 minutes. Shinsou woke up to a surprisingly distorted vision of Aizawa's voice. He groaned, hearing his neck pop as he moved it from side to side. He turned to stretch his body more, only to feel a pressure on his shoulder. Looking over, he saw you sitting next to him with your head on his shoulder. The TV was playing, and the end credits to the movie you two had been watching earlier. I guess we fell asleep, he noticed. Looking outside to see it was dark, you were meant to be back at your dorm about 10 minutes after the sun finally set. A small blue light shined on the GPS bracelet on your left wrist. He looked over at it, wondering why it was suddenly blue. He's curious Curiosity was met when Aizawa's voice once again was heard, coming from the bracelet. Kid, being quiet isn't going to help you, he said. Shinsou gently picked up your arm to look at the bracelet. He tried to look at any indicator, preferable a button, that could help him respond. You seemed to be sleeping so peacefully, and he didn't want to wake you up. There it is, he mumbled, finding a black button on the side of the bracelet. Lynn, you've been taking classes for 2 days. You should have a good excuse for this, Aizawa said, clearly seeing that you were going to respond. Hey, Aizawa-sensei, Shinsou replied. There was a few seconds of silence. Hitoshi Shinsou let Yin respond on his or own. His/her own. I don't want to know what you two were doing, but Shinsou, you know you aren't allowed to be bagging in those kinds of actions with Lin, such less at your age, Aizawa said. I wasn't informed that it was against the rules to watch movies with him or her, much less at my age. I'll bring him/her over there now, Shinsou said, going to pick you up. There was no response from Aizawa, so Shinsou continued with picking you up. He/she must be a heavy sleeper if she's still sleeping through all of this, Shinsou thought, carrying you out of his room. At this time, there was no one else around outside their dorms. The people on the couch didn't even bother looking at Shinsou as he passed them. Your body was practically draped over his shoulder, so it was easier to open some doors. Once he made it outside, he shifted to carrying you bridal style. The dorms are pretty far apart. Maybe I should wake him/her up, Shinsou thought. He didn't think you were practically heavy. He just didn't want to walk that far. What? You began mumbling, waking up. Go back to sleep, Yin, he replied, holding you closer to him. All right. You trailed off, slipping back into sleep. Great, he sighed, continuing to walk to the 1A dorm. Once he got close enough, he saw that the disheveled teacher and pro hero was standing outside. Shinsou, Don't let this happen again, Aizawa said, immediately when he saw the general education student. I don't see what's wrong. He/she's a perfectly normal person. You know that too. You can't just let any villain under 18 into a hero school, Shinsou said, going to hand you to the teacher. Yes, he's/she's not a bad kid, but that doesn't make up for the actions they've done. He/she was here for a week before starting classes with everyone. He/she has a chance. From what we've been seeing, take them to their room. I'm going to sleep, Aizawa said, walking off. Great, just great, Shinsou sighed, not knowing what to do. Hey, thanks for that, you suddenly said, managing to stand up on your own. He blushed in embarrassment, clearly. You were awake? Of course, I can't just fall asleep like that, you said, snapping your fingers when you sang that. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again, by the way, you said, walking towards the dorms. Yeah, of course, he said quietly, going back to his dorm with a small smile on his face.